think everyone does need a cheerleader, someone in their life to cheer them on. And sometimes I think we have these goals, but tragically, it sometimes takes a bit of a wake-up call, for us to actually go for those goals and make them happen. So I've had 2 wake-up calls. I'm not really going to go into them, but Christchurch earthquake, child who has alopecia, which means he's 10 and has no hair. So those are 2 of my wake-up calls. But the other day I said to myself, you know what, just out of the blue, I was like, if I only had 2 years to live, what would I do? And you know where my brain went? I was like, straight away, I would pull the kids out of school, and I would go traveling in Canada, where I'm from, a country that I've barely seen any of. But it's funny, isn't it, that I have to ask that crazy, powerful question to get that answer. So I was actually thinking, maybe what I'll do, I'll talk to my friend Binny. She gave you guys some information about travel associates. I was like, I'm gonna talk to Binny. I'm gonna make it happen. So you guys can think about that question. It's not homework, but you can think about it. So anyway, one of the things I found, working as a woman entrepreneur, I work with a lot of women, overwhelmed mothers. I wrote this parenting book, and it's overwhelmed mothers and overworked entrepreneurs. Those are the people I hang out with. And what I found in my 15 years of personal development and mentoring and stuff is people tend to get caught in these kind of 4 different zones in life. The first one is what I call kind of the disconnected zone. Okay? So you're going through life, you're going to work or your job, you're making the school snacks or after school snack. You're just doing your thing. But you're not emotionally invested. You're just kind of going through the motions, a little bit on autopilot. And some people then move into what I call the should zone. And this was definitely me in the early years of motherhood. I call it motherhood martyrdom. So in the should zone, this is where people feel like, oh, well, I should do this and I should do that. And I really want to sit in the sun and read my book, but I really should do this and I need to do that. And so you're in the should zone when you're kind of doing the should and the need and the just. And you're in the should zone when you're kind of living your life in a state of obligation and duty. Okay? I don't need to know what zone you guys are in right now. And you kind of come and go a little bit with the zones, but I just need to know that you know what zone you're in. Okay? So that was the should zone. What happens with the should zone sometimes is either something happens, a pivotal moment in their life, something that triggers something. It doesn't have to be massive, like a divorce or a car crash or whatever, but it can be. Or it can be just small. But they get to that point where they're like, you know what? I'm done. And they move into what I call the frustration zone. And in the frustration zone, right, they're kind of like, there's gotta be more. This is it. That's it. I'm not taking it anymore. And they decide in that moment that they're not gonna live life just doing that. Because in the frustration zone, as you can imagine, that's when it starts to affect your health and your relationships, because you're just in this kind of negative space, kind of bitter and resentful. Does anyone kind of relate? You think you've ever been there? Okay, so just to preview, so down here, we had the disconnected zone, then we had the should zone, and then we had the frustration zone. The should zone is interesting. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was like, oh, well, I was on the PTA, but now my child's moving schools, and I suppose I should really get on the PTA of the new school. Oh, but then at the sports club, so-and-so broke their arms, so maybe I should put my hand up for that. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I know you tell people to say what they want, Nat, but maybe I should just really be on the PTA. I'm like, do you want to be on the PTA? Do you want to? She's like, no. I'm like, why don't you just sit on your hands, don't put your hand up. Somebody else will. It doesn't have to be you. Because one of my messages is, you guys, I do it too. I slip down into those zones. But you guys, if you're going, I really should do this. I have people I work with all the time. Oh, I should really start a podcast. I'm like, really? With that energy, you're going to start a podcast? It takes 3 hours per episode, just saying, to record and plan and promote. Right? Or, oh, I should really start blogging. I'm like, do you like writing? No, I hate it. Okay, don't. So really, let's just do what we love, and then you're just happier. I think, but sometimes, especially when you're in that should zone, I remember someone said to me once when I was in the should zone, so what are your hobbies? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean by hobby? I just was so busy being busy, right? And running around looking after everybody else. I call it give. Have you guys ever been there? And then if you don't give, get, if all you do is give, you end up here in the frustration zone, bitter and resentful, and sick and injured. And in my case, I was both. I wrote this book. I don't think my cord will reach picture it's over on the table. It's called If Only They Told Me. It's like, how tragic is that title? I look back now, I'm like, oh my God, I spent that entire time in the frustration. It's good to know. Reflection is always good. Okay, so here's the thing. I think where people want to get to and where they're really living life really, really well, we're going to go there, I think we're going, is over here, what I like to call the up your brave zone. Up your brave zone. You might call it like bliss or whatever, satisfaction. Satisfaction doesn't sound quite so good, but up your brave zone, right? And in the up your brave zone, you're doing what you want. And I don't mean like, bugger you, I'm doing what I want. I mean, you're empowered choices. You're making empowered choices with intention, okay? And you're doing what you want, and you're coming from that state of, yep, I want to spend my time that way. So here's an example. So I can sometimes slip down into one of the other zones. I was texting a friend, yep, I can meet you for coffee, but I need to drop Jonah off at hip-hop first. And then I went, delete, delete, delete. Yes, I can meet you for coffee, but I want to drop Jonah off at hip-hop first. You're looking forward to seeing you, see you then, right? So I changed my language because I knew I was going into that victim like, oh, poor me, I need to drop him off. So if we live our life in the up your brave zone, it's just so much better. And I'm going to give you a few tips on how to get there. And ideally stay there for quite a while. So it's interesting. So I remember there was this time, the tricky thing between here is what we call the reintroduction gap. So there's this massive crevasse between the frustration zone and where you want to go, which is the up your brave zone. Okay, stay with me. There's this massive crevasse, right? And what happens sometimes is people are like, bugger it, I'm going to do what I want, and they're excited to go there. And they start to reintroduce themselves to the world, like the more confident version of them, right? Or maybe, as Kylie said, the slimmer version of them. Or, just taking a different life path. Maybe they quit their job that was slowly killing them, and they decided they're going to be an artist, or whatever. But here's the thing, people start, they get pushback. When you're going into the reintroduction gap, people are like, who do you think you are? Or they're like, I don't really think that's good. So I'll give you a little story. My husband loves when I talk about him on stage. So I was, 5 years into my business, go-to girl, I worked with women entrepreneurs. Mentoring people, everything was great, good money, whatever. But I was looking at the screen one day on Zoom, mentoring these girls, and I'm like, I just want to have more impact. I just want to change more lives. Like, it's just this thing within me. And so one of my clients, she was in doTERRA essential oils. I have a display over here. And I decided I could help my overwhelmed moms and my overworked entrepreneurs with not only the wellness and the beauty of the oils helping them with their health and wellness, but also the leveraged business model, da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, so I did that. About a year goes by. And I remember, I said to my husband, I just had an interesting conversation with my dad about me doing this thing. And my husband was like, yeah, he's kind of right. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, like when you go on TV on the AM show and you talk about social media or parenting, like that's cool. But like I'm kind of embarrassed to tell people that you do essential oils. And we're standing in the kitchen, and I'm like, so this was me in the reintroduction zone. I was trying to reintroduce myself to the world. I know you know me as like social media parenting author person, but I also now do this business in the oils. Anyway, I'm also a wellness person. So I was getting pushback. And I go, so he said, it's embarrassing when I tell people. And I go, children, gather round. And I bring like 3 children, and they're all like, well, they're here, now they're up here on me. And I was like, when someone says, what does your mom do? This is what you say. She's a speaker, an author, and an impact entrepreneur. And honey, how about you worry about your job, and I'll worry about mine. So that was in that moment, was kind of like, and I just put it out there. And the funny thing is, and I kind of added, and by the way, in about 6 months, I'll be making twice what you're making. So you worry about your job, and I'll worry about mine. And now, flash forward another year, no joke, he sends me screenshots of our bank account every month when my oil money comes in. And he's like, good job. Another month goes by, he'll send me a screenshot. This is impressive. That's what he says. Okay, so has it reduced his stress and anxiety over money? Yes, it has. But guess what? If I had been like, oh, I don't want to be embarrassing to him, and maybe, who do I think I am, and da-da-da, I wouldn't have gone down that path. I didn't know why I was going down that path, right? I was busy enough. I did not need another thing to do. We had good money. You know what? I wanted to have more impact. I wanted to change more lives.
And I wanted to have more leverage, so everything didn't rely on me, speaking, coaching, running events. What if I got laryngitis? Like this is my third event today, my voice is going. But really, I wanted just to not everything to be up to me to do everything by myself. So anyway, empowered choice. And here's the thing though, this is the key. I wasn't in the upper brave zone, but I was on my way. Because I decided not I'll show you, important men in my life that I'm gonna do this. Watch me. I wasn't like all sassy about it. I was like, you know what, I know this doesn't actually make sense, especially to people that are risk averse, because I'm like a go-getter and hey, let's just see what happens type personality. But I was like, it just feels right, and I'm just gonna go. Like it was, do you see the different energy between like, that versus like, actually, I don't know where it's going, but it just feels right. So I stepped towards the up your brave zone. And in the up your brave zone, empowered choices, intentional actions. And saying what you want. I don't mean say whatever you want, swear, and whatever you want. But I mean say what you actually want and desire. Does that make sense? So I don't need to know what zone you're in at the moment, but I just want to know that you guys know what zone you're in. Do you feel like you know what zone you're in at the moment in your life? Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I just want to do today, and just love the flow, how it's like Kylie's story, and then Tracy talking about the goals, is I just want to like encourage you to like get yourself into that up your brave zone and go get those goals. And so there's 3 things I think that you can kind of do to help you move across that crevasse, the gap. Okay, so one is, I forgot I got slides. Let me just see what pictures I sent through. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, Tracy, can you help me? Wrong way?
Wrong way. I thought you were.
Oh, the big arrow. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. This is good. That'll remind me. Okay, so there's 3 things you can do. The first one is be who you are. In other words, be yourself. Okay, how do you do that? Sometimes we're so busy. Remember, like, what are your hobbies? I'm like, I don't know my hobby. I don't even know, when the last time I had a shower. Like, I don't know. So it's like personality types. One of the things you can do that's actionable, I don't care which model you choose, but go and do one of those Myers-Briggs, DISCs, Dove, Eagle, Otter, Retriever, the personality types. What I can do is through Tracy's email, I can send you guys a link to a free one that's really cool. And that can just help you, not put you in a box, but help you understand the filter that you see the world through. Another example, my husband loves it when I talk about him. So the other day, 2 days ago, I was like, oh, we're totally gonna get to 20 tickets, because we're at 14 already. And he's like, wow. I'm like, we were in the kitchen again. And I'm like, what do you mean, wow? Are you amazed by my optimistic personality and my growth mindset? And he's like, no. I'm like, wow, like, why count your chickens before they hatch? And I was like, wow, I am amazed by your negativity about my negativity. Like, it was just one of those moments, so I guess what I'm saying, personality type, his personality type is more risk averse. His personality is more fixed mindset. We don't have time to go into it, but such a fascinating topic, fixed mindset versus growth mindset. If you are fixed mindset, the great news is you can become more growth mindset. Okay, Tracy can help you with that. Also my husband your way. So anyway, so do a personality test if you haven't done one in the last 3 years. It is quite fascinating to just see who you are. So I like this one, expressive driver, amiable analytic. I'm an expressive driver. I love to talk, as you can see. I'm very animated, and I love to get things done. Yes?
The microphone's not working.
Oh, is the microphone not working?
Just hit it.
Is that better?
You don't need it.
Okay.
You don't need
That's
it.
why I'm losing my voice. Thank you. It's my mom.
Aww.
Thank you. I love all the attention. So, my parents live in Wellington. They've been here 20 years. And I was saying to a friend today, I haven't lived in the same city as my parents since I was 19. Can you hear me now? They're all like, we can never hear you. Oh, you don't need it.
You don't even need it now.
So, personality type, expressive. So I'm an expressive driver. I love to talk. No wonder I have a podcast. I love to sing, but I won't. I sometimes do that when I speak. And a driver, I like to get things done. Boom, let's do this. And when you're working with a driver, they're like yada yada yada, like Visa or MasterCard. Like how do we you don't want to like piss around with the driver. So it's really good to know who you're working with and who you are. But here's the thing: as a busy mom of 3, right, with businesses and whatever, if I didn't sometimes like call on my analytic and call on the amiable side of myself, I would like burn out and just be like have no friends. Okay? So what I think with the personality type, you want to understand who you are, but realize there's more to you. And sometimes to get to the up your brave zone, if you're an analytic and you're like, I don't like to do anything unless it's going to be perfect. Do we have any immaculate people in the audience? People like that. It's like, I need to know the plan, I need a list, I need order. And if I know it's going to succeed, we have children like this. I got one. She's like, oh no, I'll only do sports when and my other kid's like, I don't care, I'll give it a go. So he's more like me. So do you see what I'm saying? So expressive driver, analytic, amiable. The amiables I love, but they just want to keep everyone else happy, often at the expense of themselves. Do you remember when I talked about the frustration zone? So sometimes amiables wear the happy mask, and they're like, everything's great, yeah. And then inside they're like, right? The problem with that, those people just saying tend to get some health issues because they're not being real because they're wearing a happy mask. So if you're amiable, I invite you to put yourself first now and then. It's so hard because you're so used to, I don't want to offend anyone. If you're in business, I don't want to be pushy. It's like you are in business, you don't stay in business, you don't like be in business. But I know you guys aren't all in business, but if you're an amiable, sometimes you need to up your brave and say what you actually want. So I invite you to do that. And some of what Tracy's had me to write down, it's like moving you towards, what do I actually want? What are 2 of my goals, right? Okay, so where was I? Personality types, this is figuring out who you are. Personality types and figuring out what you want. Even like if you're figuring out who you are, get your colors done. I used to wear, no joke, gray, burgundy, and brown. And then when I was 40, I'm 45 now. When I was 40, I got my colors done, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Blue? Really? And everyone's like, you look good in blue. I'm like, yeah, too bad it took me 40 years to figure that out. Okay? So I'm just saying, get your colors done. Is there a personal stylist in the room? Come on, I love to connect people. Personal stylist. Anyway. Okay, so figure out who you are, okay? Second thing on my list. Oh yeah, so be yourself. Second thing, feed yourself. Good, healthy food, but also good, healthy social media. If you're following people on Instagram and they make you feel like crap, guess what? Unfollow. Just saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's your life. You are the CEO of your own life, even if you're not in business. You are. You really are. So what are you feeding yourself? I want to ask you that. What are the phrases? Negative, you talked about inner critic. So important. What are the phrases that float around in your head all the time? No joke, this is what I say every morning, regardless of the weather. Hello, beautiful day. Wait for it. Hello, beautiful body. I seriously say that. I'm 5'2". I have like skin with polka dots. I was like a Dalmatian in my past life. I'm super veiny and like blah-de-blah-de-blah. But do I focus on that? No. Do I focus on the fact that my awesome body has birthed two children, and then another one. 3 children. climbed up tons of mountains, paddled down rivers. I did the Southern Traverse. I used to work at Everbound. You know, do I celebrate that? Damn straight I do. Do you know what I mean? So I think if we do, like how you said, if we just focus on all the negative stuff, well, no wonder you're going to have inner critic. So I know it's not that easy, but I'm just saying, if you get into a routine, like the 3, 2, 1 countdown, or the hello beautiful day, hello beautiful body that I do, I'm just saying, it changes your mindset before you're even out of the bedroom, making those school lunches that we all love to make, right? So we're going to change our languaging, we're going to change our inner dialogue, and here's a great, great actionable tip. I had someone go, oh my God, Nat, that thing you told me about just, need, and should, game changer. Ditch the words just, need, and should from your vocab. It will change your life. Okay? Because when we say, oh, I just need to do this, remember maybe the text, just need to do this, and I just need to do that. Or, oh, I really should blah, 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 yeah? When you say those things, that's all negative, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to. You think you should. You're in the should zone. You're living out of obligation and duty, and that's not a way to live, because we want to be over there, okay? So if you just find, every time you say, oh, I should really, just catch yourself in the micro moment and go, I want to. Or here's another one, I'm ready to, right? I have this, like, I have a big doTERRA team, which is the oils in Wellington and also in other parts of New Zealand. And a lot of my girls go, I really need to attract more builders. And I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready. So it's the languaging is so powerful. Do you see what I'm saying? Should, need, and just, ditch it. Just catch yourself in the micro moments. And finally, so we did be yourself, we did feed yourself, and now I'm saying free yourself. Free yourself to be who you are by doing this. And I say, of course I care what people think. I'm a little bit of an amiable. Of course I care what people think. But I care what I think more. So when I got pushback about, like, why are you doing oils? That's so embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? so, you know, and you'll get pushback from all sorts of people. And you're like, I have a friend right now, she has had anxiety and depression, and she's starting to do a lot of mindset work. You do need to work, and I do believe you need to pay to play often. If you don't pay someone to mentor you, if you kind of stay stuck sometimes. So anyway, she's done really good work, not with me, with somebody else, but she's done such great work. And she's really started to assert herself and be more confident. And guess what? Her husband doesn't like this new person who has such strong opinions, you know? And her friend who used to like nurture her and look after her, because her friend is really into like taking care, she doesn't know what to do with her now, because this friend is like now suddenly, so that she's getting pushback. She's she's trying to reintroduce herself. Okay, so you gotta be like, yeah, you know what? I do care what other people think, but I actually care what I think more, and then you'll slowly move towards that zone. And so one of the things I do, like I said, is I actually, not just with the business, like choosing to do it, but I use oils myself. If I'm feeling like, usually I don't need to be elevated. I usually need to calm the F down. So, seriously, you go to bed in the morning. So I would say, I would take something. I would take something like, you know, the balance, here's lavender piece, which is like lavender on steroids. I love it so much. So I would take a drop or so of lavender piece, you know, and I would like rub it in my hands, just to calm down. Where other people are like, I'm just like, want to go into this meeting and I really want to express this report that I just wrote, so I'm going to have peppermint, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to put motivate on my hand. So that's another way that you can actually free yourself to be who you are and not worry about all these, what is everyone going to think? And that theme of what other people think came up a lot tonight. Awesome. Cool. So, just to wrap things up, you can hear me, right? I don't need this. Okay. And why do we want to get into the upper grave zone anyway? I call it in there, that is where you have your personal impact factor. Because I actually think most people want to make a difference, a positive difference, bigger than they thought. You know, but they're kind of scared, or they think, what if it doesn't work, and all that kind of stuff. So I think if you do those three things, and there's more, but those are just three little things I tried to give you some actionables for tonight, to like go away and do your personality type, or get your colors done, or something like that. You know, start being aware. What am I feeding myself? Who am I following? Why am I following all these people that I'm comparing myself to? It doesn't serve you. What language am I using in my head all the time? Hello, beautiful day. Hello, beautiful body. Okay? So I just want to encourage you to tweak a few things you're doing if you want. You don't have to. It's no big deal. And if you do want to get some of those goals, definitely go talk to Tracy. If you do feel like you struggle with anxiety or anything, totally talk to Kylie. You know, what I do is I actually help speakers and entrepreneurs get on TV and magazines. So I help people who are ready to shine. They're in the upper grade, or they're almost there. They're kind of stuck in the middle. Which is what I want. I want everyone to shine. I really do. So I hope that's been helpful for you guys. What I thought would be really fun is if I bring Kylie and Tracy back up and we just do a little bit of Q&A. Are you into that? Yeah.